Well, hello, y'all. This is Market Explainer. We are the Business News Podcast. Moving on to this next story, but before we do that, I do want to tell you about my company, Work at Home Stuff. We curate a selection of all the stuff you're going to need to work from home successfully, as it looks like going to be the wave of the future. And I
like the way you said curate. We like to curate around here.
Right. And this is coming from a guy who has spent most of his adult life working from home. So I've spent over a decade as a work from home guy. I have a very honest perspective on what you're going to need to make yourself feel comfortable. I know some people have weird routines about going to work from home. Like, I know somebody used to leave his house, drive around the block, come back. That's how he knows he's starting to work. I don't do any of that weird stuff, but I definitely know comfortable chair, a good desk, all of this stuff matters when you're working from home. You can hit up workathomestuff.com. Check it out. This next story, it's a little personal to us because we're content creators. Zuckerstads.
I love how you jack up any of their names. Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, any of these multi-billionaires, probably all soon to be trillionaires at some point, right?
Yeah.
You jack up their names constantly, and you do it on purpose.
Correct.
It's not like you don't know their names. Correct. You just enjoy jacking them up.
Yeah, and maybe there's going to be a shirt with all of their jacked up names coming on in the future. Don't ruin the surprise, big man.
Is there any reason why you like? I want to know. I don't know if the audience does, but I would love to know.
They deserve it. That's why they deserve it.
Did they do something personally to you?
Yes. Yes. They tracked me. They injected microchips in my butt.
Bill Gates personally injected microchips into your butt. That's
personally.
That sounds like a lawsuit for Scarlett Johansson, is what it sounds like to me. But all right.
I clicked update to Windows 10 on my last laptop. Got a knock at the door. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's old Willie Doors. Willie Doors says, right in the tuchus. So.
Anyway, so what is this story?
This is really important to us because, like I said, Zuckerstads is dropping an entire $1 billion.
Yes.
Through the end of next year, so through the end of 2022. Through a new bonus program designed to help creatives plug into their ecosystem. You know what that means? All of the people you hate on the existing platforms are now going to be crowding up your Facebook timeline, and they're going to get paid personally. I think he personally delivers the checks, that he writes them in his checkbook.
Well, look, Facebook, it's amazing to me that Facebook has been able to stay Facebook, the app that it is, with the users that it is, and not pay for content.
Right.
When even YouTube, but now, YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff. But so it seems like everybody else started sharing revenue, and Facebook just never did because they never had to. Right? And I think I think this becomes part of the, excuse me, this becomes part of the, they still have a lot of people using their app. They still have a lot of content being created, but it may not necessarily be the content that they want created. That they, you know what I mean, and that kind of stuff. This may be one of their fighting against ecosystems that have a tendency to happen on Facebook right now.
So one of the things that did happen when David Dobrik got the old-fashioned axe was it appeared, at least to the onlooker, they chopped up his old content and from his own personal channels started distributing it on Facebook because they realized he could still make money on Facebook because Facebook didn't. Right? And so what I mean by that is to say that Facebook has never done anything to cultivate its own creators. Right?
No.
Whereas Instagram has incidentally cultivated butt models, and TikTok has cultivated insane people.
Right.
And, Twitter
but those
has
places went at it from the
people.
very beginning, right? That's why YouTube became YouTube, is sharing revenue with what ended up being people with millions of views and that kind of stuff.
Right.
TikTok and Instagram, they all figured out that, hey, if we share revenue, and oh, by the way, it's not a lot of revenue, right? If we share at least some fraction. But Facebook, I think, for a long time went at it as, well, we don't have to. We're Facebook.
Right.
We don't have to. And what they found is if you were a creator, like a real creator, right? You know, like a Call Me Chris on TikTok, or I don't know who it would be on Instagram, or Philip DeFranco or Joe Rogan on YouTube and stuff like that. If you were a creator,
Joe Rogan.
if you were a creator, you're not using Facebook as a creative platform. You're just not. And this is why. Money talks, and you're not going to waste your time for free. This is Facebook's late round at doing it. And if you really go through these articles, I think that even though they're finally coming to the party with this money, they already are telling you flat out that they're not going to be very nice or happy about sharing it. I mean, they're talking about bonus initiatives for people that do seasonal involving an expansion of certain things, which basically means, hey, if it's Christmas time and your content gets to a certain, number of views, we might share some revenue with you. It basically looks like to me that they want everybody to be talking about that they're finally sharing revenue. Right. But they're going to make it such a moving target. They're already talking about minimums, about time that you spent on live, right, on Facebook Live or any of that kind of stuff. So they're already giving criteria that, hey, we're going to make this a moving target. We're only going to make it available to people that have large followings, and those followings are interactive. Not like, hey, TikTok, all right, you've got 2 million subscribers, right? You're or into the
Snapchat
fund.
Spotlight program where they're giving out $1 million sometimes.
Right, Snapchat hands out $1 million a day, apparently. Right. I mean, that's insane,
so
right?
The thing is, as creators, as people who make content, I'm coming at it and I'm currently beefing with Facebook because we rebranded our show, as you can see.
Yep.
And our former original podcast was called Big Man Podcast or Big Man Movie Podcast.
Yep.
Switched from that to Idiots versus Idiots, our Facebook page.
Right.
They had no problem with that. Here you go. You can change your name.
No problem with that.
Done. Now we try to change our name to Market Explainer. They're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And so we're locked horns. And as somebody who we're very small on Facebook, right? But they're not even, we can't even, so I'm just saying as a creator, this is my existing experience with Facebook, which is sucky, which is I'm trying to do something good and I'm trying to improve. They don't want me to do it.
Well, they're like the DMV. You don't even have somebody you can call. Like they're like the DMV. You want to complain about the DMV, who are you going to call? You want to complain about whatever government entity. That Facebook is like that. Yeah, I mean, I don't even have. I looked previously years ago because I had an issue with some of the marketing stuff I was doing. At that point, there was no phone line. I don't know if there is now, but there is no phone line you could call. There was no Facebook customer service phone line. Everything was handled through Facebook at their discretion. Whether they answer or don't answer or how long it takes or whatever is at their discretion.
And here's the part that made my blood boil. My blood started boiling.
It did, folks.
They said you can appeal the fact that we denied your name change. You can appeal it in the support inbox. So I spent 2 years finding the support inbox, which is a regular inbox. Guess what? There's no message to appeal.
Yeah, there was no message there, and I looked as well.
Appeal there. So that, as a small end creator, thing that they want to invest in established creators, and all they're looking for is transfer growth. All they're looking to do is bring established creators from other platforms when those platforms cultivated creators.
Yep.
And historically, the creators that get banned, canceled, whatever, who have issues monetizing their content on YouTube. Ethan from H3 has talked about this several years ago, not recently, but content creators that were stealing content, right? And they couldn't monetize their content on any other platform. Go to Facebook. Because Facebook's like, we don't care. You have 50,000 likes on your page, whatever it is. That's infuriating to someone like me who's like, listen, I don't want to be advanced or pushed forward for any other reason other than we made the content that the community of people wanted to see or like.
Absolutely.
But then to see that we're not competing like that. We're competing for, well, if you do a better job stealing people's content than the people who make it do distributing it, we'll pay you.
I don't understand. I've never understood the whole we don't share revenue at all, and Facebook obviously makes more money than all of these others combined. TikTok, right? Everybody else, it doesn't matter. They make more money because the way advertising and the way they do advertising and that kind of stuff is insane. They are a machine, right? So I've never understood, and they got away with it because they could. They could. Nobody was leaving Facebook because they weren't sharing revenue, right? As far as your average Facebook, who is your Facebook user, right?
Right.
So they would go to other apps for that. But again, so they come out and say, we're going to give $1 billion, and then they're going to put this moving target on it. I think it's a combination of too little, too late. Honestly, I do. I think this is
100% agree.
If I was going to pick a non-story story of this week, this is it, because I think the $1 billion gets people talking about it. Obviously, we're talking about it and whatever. But the fact that how long it takes them to give away that $1 billion and how it's distributed, God only knows. This is one of those stories that we don't know how it's going to work until it's actually here.
And it's one of those things, too, where they get the credit for saying they're going to give away $1 billion, but we'll never know how much they give away to whom.
Well, they're private companies, so they don't have to tell us anything. So whether they actually, their books are not public in the way that they do these kind of things.
This
so my point
specific thing is never going to be public.
They will never answer to giving. Hey, did you give away $1 billion? Right?
Correct.
Nobody's going to ever answer that question. And, they'll do what most companies do. They'll find a creator out there, some well-known somebody, that they'll hand a check in front of a camera, right, on Facebook Live or some bull crap like that, whatever, and they'll hand them a check for $100,000 or $1 million or whatever it may be, right? And they'll use that one instance or maybe a couple of them to say we're doing it.
Right, and then no one else, we had the $1 billion there, but no one met the requirement.
Yeah, here's the first person that won $1 million, that received $1 million bonus or whatever it is, and they'll go back and use that. I didn't know until I started looking at this. Apparently we need to be on Snapchat. They're giving away $1 million a day in revenue sharing, and we don't have a Snapchat account, YouTube, obviously their $100 million fund. TikTok opened up a $200 million creator fund within a month or so after they came on board. And I mean, when you have these new places come out and sharing that kind of money, I don't know. And maybe TikTok, being the craze that it's created, maybe that was the straw that broke the Facebook camel's back, is to them say, hey, here's a brand new app that is going crazy, and making money and stuff like that. And all they did, there was no secret sauce to it. All they did is pay people, share revenue. They made it easy, simple, share revenue.
When you create a contest effectively, where you're going to give people money for creating good content, you're going to get so much content, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of what Facebook is, they just want people to read the headline. $1 billion. They're going to start posting their existing content from other places onto YouTube, onto Facebook, hoping to get that $1 billion, not realizing that basically you're never going to catch.
No, right? Because they'll move that target somehow along that way, that it's got to be unique content. And they're already doing it with, like I said, they've got on here, certain time, which invites viewers to streaming tips.
Right.
Making videos on Facebook, it will have to be within stream ads. They're going to push this, I guarantee you, on live streaming. Not necessarily, you know what I mean, content that you've created, like posting our show on Facebook, on our Facebook page, right? I guarantee you that will not be, eligible, whether it gets 1 million views or not. They want you to be on Facebook Live, Instagram Live. They want you to be on something like YouTube that they can post ads in, on, or during, right before or right after. And that's just going to be the way it's going to be.
And one last thing I just want to say about Facebook is it's like using Windows 98. It's not intuitive. It's slow. It's clunky. It's garbage. It's the worst. I hate it.
My biggest issue, and again, I don't think this changes anything. I think if you use Facebook now, you're going to use Facebook tomorrow. This changes nothing for. I don't think there's a creator out there that's going to move as their main source of creation to Facebook because of this.
Right.
I think it's too little, too late, and I don't think it has any.
It's the Hyundai Sonata of social media.
Yeah,
nobody's passionate about their Hyundai Sonata. They're just like, well, it's a car.
Should you really get credit for doing something if you should have been doing it all along? Like, but my issue with Facebook, and I think this is going to be a lot of, and this is me being a Gen Xer in social media, I think your problem with a lot of social media platforms out there in the way that they're ran is you create tunnels of only seeing what you want to see, and they know you want to see it, and it creates what we call in today's world of echo chambers, of feeding information that you only want to hear and see. And I think for places like Facebook and some other places that I won't mention, I think that's going to be, in the short term, a very difficult proposition for those companies.
Are you talking about Parlay or Parler?
No, I'm not talking about anybody in specific. I'm just, and look, TikTok, all these use algorithms to show you what they think you want to see.
Right.
But Facebook, especially, their algorithm has been very, very aggressive in what they think, right? Because you would be amazed how much Facebook knows about you, and you know what I mean, and stuff like that.
It's really wild is, like, even if you don't use it, they will build a ghost profile on you based on the people around you who use it.
And how accurate it is. If your mom's on it, your grandmother's on it, you know what I mean? So like you said, even if you've never been on it, they know who you are, they know where you live, they know who your family members are, or whatever. And again, I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. We give all this stuff away for free. There's no such thing as living off the grid in today's world. It doesn't exist. So you might as well embrace the benefits of it, because you're not getting away from the negative of it. All right? Now, I'm not telling you to post your social security number to Facebook. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying that if they want to know, they already know, right? So, and because of the way it's structured, and but I think, again, the echo chambers that especially Facebook, for whatever reason, and they've talked about their algorithm, and maybe we need to do that on a show at length. Maybe we do it as one of our side episodes and get a Facebook expert on, and you know what I mean? Because their algorithm, several articles have been written in the last couple of years about how aggressive in certain ways their algorithm has been, and what it's done to people leaving Facebook in droves and stuff like that.
So let me just say this one last thing in closing on the story. I have gone over to Minds, MINDS. Amazing. It is an alternative social network. I love it. It doesn't hate me. Okay.
I don't even know what that is, but
well, I'm just saying I've used it for years now. And yeah, it's a little more cloistered. You're gonna find like specific communities. Of course, people like me kind of gravitate to it, like it more. But I would like it's like Facebook, like from when I was in college. Like, it was totally not. There's no, like, it's so chill. And
is it MySpace? Is that how chill it was? MySpace was pretty chill.
It is not MySpace chill. MySpace chill is just a different level. I miss MySpace.
MySpace was like the what you would. When you look back on MySpace and you look, and you're young, right? I mean, you're a decade younger than I am.
Right.
MySpace was like if we were looking at the internet, right? Like we're looking at the internet as a timeline of the world, right? MySpace was the total anarchist wild west of social media. And then Facebook come along and kind of like modernized it and settled everything down and kind of put some rules in place and some ethics and morals a little bit in the beginning. MySpace was like, whatever you want, man. Whatever you want, whenever you want it.
Totally.
Whatever you wanted to be, whatever lies you wanted to tell, whatever. There was no fact checking. There was no, you know what I mean? Nobody telling you were crazy. It was insane.
Yeah, but no one was behaving that nuts on MySpace.
You were on the wrong part of MySpace, if that's what you think. Cause
Did you have MySpace?
Of course, I had MySpace. It was like the first major social media platform. I'm 10 years older than you are. I was an adult when MySpace came out.
I didn't know this.
Okay, MySpace was like my first real interaction. MySpace was like the stepping stone between, and I truly believe this. Before MySpace, you had chats, Yahoo Chat, and these are all text-based chat rooms, right? MSN chat, all these kind of, and MySpace was that stepping stone between online chat rooms,
right,
and what we now think of as social media. That was MySpace. It got everybody out of chat rooms, off of Yahoo Chat, all these things that have died, right, now, at this point, that nobody would recognize. MySpace was that stepping stone.
You know what's interesting, a little piece of history for the audience, is all of what we understand, apps, right, all of this stuff, the sharing economy, social media, it all starts in one place. Danny's theory, by the way, Napster, right? Because Napster had some of that community function, which then Friendster brought to they just said, hey, Napster's illegal. Friendster, this is just about making friends and playing games or whatever Friendster was about. I never had a Friendster. I'm too young for that. And then MySpace kind of moved into that social media category from being a website dedicated to musicians. That's why when you first had like MySpace, you put a song on there.
Right.
Edition, right?
Sure.
My song, of course, was the song from The Sopranos.
Well, look, all of this stems from, there's a lot of things that start out as something and then morph into something else, right?
Well, I'm just saying, but I'm just saying, like, if you look, Napster is what convinced the music industry to allow iTunes, Apple, to sell music individually, 99 cents a song, boosted iPod sales, which in turn gave Apple, after the guy came back, Steve Jobs came back to Apple, then in turn gave them the capitalization to create the iPhone, which then created the app market, which then a lot of people made a lot of money. So I'm just saying it all goes back to Napster. Napster it all goes back to Napster.
Hey,
the sharing economy, right?
I'm following you. I don't know if that's all 100% accurate, but I'm following you, and
I'm a genius. I'm the smartest person on the internet doing a podcast.
You keep saying. So
correct.